Hello and welcome. How's your Sunday going? I just want to make sure that this camera is going to behave. So I have an app that locks all the features of the camera and keeps it in one place. So the reason why I have this is because I love this camera. It's an ancient camera from Microsoft, one of the first high definition cameras that came out. And if you remember the old cameras, they used to they'd focus and then they go out of focus and then focus in. This one seems like it's having a little problem with the light behind me. Haven't gotten a new hat in a while, so just letting you know. Um, yeah, what a week, huh? If you've been following me at all, you know that I was diagnosed with cancer in March of 2021, last year. So it's been about a year. This is February now of 2022. And I'm just getting comfortable here. Let me pull this closer. And man, that was such a life-changing thing to learn that you have cancer. I mean, of all things, this is like something. I mean, think about it. You're doing your day-to-day stuff and your dreams, living your life, and your family and the different people that come in and out of your life and doing your job and your career. And then all of a sudden somebody throws the word cancer in there, right? Or life throws the word cancer in there. And then you have to think about that. It's like, what is my believe little band that I got from Naples, the Florida cancer specialist here in Naples. And that's just life changing. It really is. I mean, any way you look at it, I'm kind of like, if you know me at all, and if you followed any of my stuff, you know that I'm laid back. I take life not so serious. I don't take myself so seriously. You got to have a little fun in life, and you have to enjoy and kick back, and that's what life's all about, is living it right. So when this diagnosis came, I go, okay, how do we take care of this, right? um, when I heard it, I didn't know anything. I didn't know, how much time I had left, how many more Christmases or New Year's I had left, how many more times around the sun. You start to think about those things that are like, you know only happen like once a year, and you usually celebrate them with other people. And yeah, you start thinking about how life is given to you, and then what you've done with it so far, and then what you're going to do in the future. So it was like, I thought, okay, I do want to, I don't want this to be it. I do want to be here longer. And I know a lot of people would go on to the standard of care, which is going to an oncologist, finding out, more about your cancer, and then listening to what he says and doing exactly what he says and hoping for the best. And the reason we do that is because we are trained to think that these guys with the white coats and the education in this area are the only real answer to any solution. But the more I have dug into science and medicine in this last year, the more I find out just how little we know about things. It's just amazing how deep the workings of the human body are. So it was a challenge to me. And then let me tell you a teeny bit about my background. I came from an area where I wanted to go a more natural route. Like, I love naturopathic type stuff. I love acupuncture. I love chiropractic. I love, you know, physical therapy. I like stuff that just takes the use of the body and doing something to the body and let the body heal itself. I didn't initially think that chemotherapy would be the way to make that happen. So, in other words, you're allowing something from outside the body to come in and try to kill everything, and then let the body deal with the results of the war that just happened, right? Um, so it was a pretty easy decision back then to start looking elsewhere, and I did that by going online. I'm so grateful this happened during a period in time that we had the internet, because I think it's very uh, useful to be able to just, I mean, you can do it from your cell phone. You can take and look stuff up immediately and get answers. And people caution you about doing this, but I would say, there are ways to go at it, and to, you know, use common sense. If something resonates with you, you know that it's probably something worth looking into. There are a lot of things out there that are not um, screened, or not really serious stuff. I mean, I remember initially starting this journey that there were many who told me that I should go to some clinic in some other country because they had great success. And some of these, you just have to look. Some of these clinics in some countries do have great success in these areas. And then you can look and see what people are saying about it. There's so many groups on Facebook. There's so many Twitter people out there that have testimonials about things that they've gone through in these different countries, in these different clinics, and how it has really helped them. This past 4 or 5 months, I've learned that even though you can get a scientific paper published, it doesn't necessarily mean that the research behind, or the scientific work behind the paper, was done in a good scientific way. It's just like people that may repair your car. From the outside, it looks really cool. It's a car, it's been repaired. But when you take a look at it closer, you see, well, they didn't do such a good job over here. That's not the way we do this kind of thing normally. So it it has its downside too. And I have learned to go by different things like reviews, and also see how many times the article has been cited. In other words, been used by somebody in another work. In other words, the research was so foundational, so good, that people were actually able to use it in a different work, in their work. So let's see what's causing that. Okay. See if we can turn this off. I'm not sure I can turn off messages. But, so I struck out on my journey and went to find these papers on Google that I thought, okay, here's some scientific research on what I have and what I'm looking for, and what this latest research is saying uh, move the needle with this kind of cancer. And the first things I stumbled across back in those days was the ketogenic diet. And I know a lot of you, including people in my family, thought, well, keto is a fad. How could a fad diet help my dad, you know, cure his cancer? And I just saw this and it resonated with me that the ketogenic diet was something that I could actually put to use in my life. And the cool thing about doing different therapies for a disease like this, as long as you're, with an oncologist and doing your lab work there, and also with these CT and PET scans, MRIs as well, you can see pretty quickly if some protocol that you're doing works or not. And what we're going to do right now is hop over here to the kitchen and make me a cup of coffee because I could tell it's time for another coffee. Let me see how I'm going to do this. Let's see. I got a pour over filter here thing that I'm going to use. So that's what I did. I started going on this ketogenic diet, and mine was a little interesting in that it was called, or still is called, guys, a therapeutic ketogenic diet. That means it's a little more uh, detailed than your normal ketogenic diet, which is just, watching your carbs, watching your sugars, eating more fats in your diet, and eating proteins, right? So had that going on for me, and the therapeutic part of it was, or clinical or something. It means a ketogenic diet that is used for medicinal purposes. Now I'm going to grind some coffees here, so hang in there, okay? And for those of you just joining, I'm making a cup of coffee and just got coffee out of, we have this spring water in the house, and it has a tank on it that delivers water piping hot or refreshingly cool. So, you have your choice there. So I started in on the clinical ketogenic diet on March the 14th and went for it. I go, okay, this is going to be what I want to do and how I want to pursue this. And, I didn't, to be totally honest, I didn't feel immediately any sort of relief. But I continued on with it for the month of April and May. And then I started noticing some dramatic weight loss. And, when you come to think of it, the ketogenic diet would spur that weight loss. And then also your cancer. The reason cancer causes you to lose weight because there's such a battle going on inside you with your immune system and these cancer cells that it takes a lot of energy from the body, and energy used in the body, and then not eating a lot of foods that feed your fat cells and also feed cancer. In other words, I cut out a ton of carbs, then you are going to lose weight. So that's what happened to me. I got what we call fat adapted and got the body burning fat, which actually started the process, in my thinking, of starving the cancer out of my body. So um, I continued on, and I still do the therapeutic ketogenic diet. I think it's very important to do, because not only I feel better, but if there's any more risk of cancer going on in my body, we're starving those cells as well. And who doesn't want to starve out the cancer in their body, right? So that's what I did. Now let me go over here. I got my coffee going on here, and I'm going to put a little more hot water in this. Hey, thanks for obliging me my extra cup of coffee. Let's go sit down here. Continue on. So I kind of talked to you a little bit about how I found out about my cancer. I decided to go on the therapeutic ketogenic diet. I also decided to use this in conjunction with chemotherapy, because one of the very first papers that I read was a paper called the Press Pulse Therapy by Dr. Thomas Seyfried and Dr. Dom D'Agostino. And these two guys came up with this thing that if you starve cancer cells and then beat them up, use something to mess them up, that they saw progress in that. And so I did the therapeutic ketogenic diet, and then as a a press, a pulse. I guess the pulse part of it would be the chemotherapy that I did. So think of it this way: that if you're starving something and it's really hungry, and you say, just in a little while, we're going to get something for you to eat. And when you feed it, when it gets time for that time to feed, you actually give the thing poison. Well, so that's basically, in my mind, that's how this whole thing went. There are doubters, of course, in any kind of protocol that you have, that will tell you that the ketogenic diet doesn't have anything to do with your cancer. And you could eat any kind of diet and still do the chemotherapy and have the same results. That's possible, I think. You won't have a good as of lifestyle, I don't think, because what the ketogenic diet does as well as it puts your cells into the very best condition that they can be in for these kind of things. Like chemotherapy is rough. So if you can get your cells in a really good state, then it's really going to help any sort of powerful thing that comes against them, namely the cancer and also the chemotherapy. There is a saying in all of this that they say that if the cancer doesn't kill you, the chemotherapy will, which is not funny, really. But so anyway, went through months of June, July. I started my chemotherapy at the end of June, continuing to do the clinical ketogenic diet in conjunction. Didn't do anything different other than that. I would do, and every session that I did of chemo, I did a 3-day fast, 3-day water fast before the chemo session. And that really helped mitigate any of the side effects of the chemo. I've never had nausea, never. And I've never had, diarrhea or these crazy things that unfortunately happen when you have toxins coming in the body at the level of chemo. I had 3 different chemo drugs, cisplatin. There's another one that starts with an M. I'm not sure what that one is. And then the third one was Abraxane, which is indicated for my type of cancer. I have or had biliary cancer, cancer of the bile duct. There's a big long name for that, which um, I'm not really sure what it is. I never really got into that part of it, is like knowing, okay, what do you call this? That part didn't matter to me. What mattered to me was my body and getting it into the best shape that I could, using the tools that I had. And it didn't turn around like quickly. It took a few months for this thing to actually make the turn to the better, where I could, start feeling better, seeing the light. There are different supplements that I say were life changing to me. Um, the biggest ones I would say are my glucose glutamine blockers. I use metformin, I use berberine, and I also use hydroxychloroquine as glucose inhibitors. I also use melatonin, which I think is crazy good, to get the body in homeostasis. So that was the whole objective, I think. Initially I didn't really know what I was doing because, I was brand new at this and studying. I got together with people that did know what was going on. And the more research I did, I became cognizant of what I should be looking into, what I should follow, what was working. As I said before, it was pretty easy to see, what you could do as far as this thing working or not, the whole protocol working or not. The part was, okay, if I take this and then do my lab work and measure it, am I going to see the results or not? And some things I did produced no result at all. And most of the time I give things 2 or 3 weeks to like move the needle. And if I saw that it didn't do anything, then I would stop taking it and see how I felt, if I felt any different too. Cancer is slow growing. It's quick growing as far as our cells, but I mean, it takes time to do its thing. So you can't really see something happen from one day to the next. So you have to let it go for a while and see what happens. So that's what I did. In my case, I felt that the melatonin was a significant help in getting me back to life as far as energy and all that stuff goes early on, because I had a bile duct tumor, a tumor that was grasping my bile duct in such a way that it was closing off the bile duct. It was important early on for them to put a stent in my bile duct and open that thing up and let me have a little more, bile going into the right part of the the intestine. I've been told that because I have a stent in there, this is interesting, that my bile duct, when it lets bile go into the intestine, because it's a round stent, man-made, it doesn't have a way to close off, doesn't have a valve on the end of it that shuts completely off the bile. So um, I just heard this like a couple days ago about my situation, and as I'm speaking to you, I'm thinking about how this thing could really affect my life. And there was a chance for bacteria to get into certain areas after they've done this latest procedure, which I'll tell you about in a few minutes. And I'm telling you that that stent was life changing. That happened in April of last year. And when your bile is being blocked and going to the wrong place, it was going into my bloodstream, making me itch. That's how I found out about my cancer. I had this itching going on. I go, gosh, what is this? And man, I remember those days, and then when they put the stent in, like a day later, I could feel life come into me. It was like, wow, this is how it's supposed to be. Things went back to normal in my body. My body functions, um, when bile is blocked, your stool even changes color, your urine changes color, your skin changes color, you get jaundice. And yeah, I was messed up to such a degree that I remember walking along the beach trying to enjoy some of the things that I've enjoyed in the past. And I thought, I just got to get out of the house and get to the beach and walk. And that was so good. But there was someone on the beach that stopped me and said, "Hey, are you okay? You kind of look like you kind of look yellow, you look like you're jaundiced a little bit." And I told him about what was going on, "Oh yeah, I have something going on with my liver." And, just kind of, basically, I didn't know who this guy was. And, he was a nice guy. He actually stopped and prayed for me. So, I mean, how cool can that be? Maybe he was an angel. I don't know. I believe in those things. August, I went back to work, flying, and things have been great since then. I've had enough energy to go back to work. I've had enough rest. My body feels good. Um, Everything's, working the way it should. And then we got to the point where we're doing chemo, doing the fasting, doing the ketogenic diet, and I was very anxious to see where, what the tumor looked like. There was a CT scan done in September, October. I'm thinking maybe October here in Naples, Florida. And I really don't know the results from that. And it seemed like the CAT scan didn't come out. Or was that a PET scan? I think it was a PET scan. So the PET scan is higher quality, higher definition. And they should have seen something more. But I remember going to my oncologist here and him mentioning that the progress was good, and they didn't have the machinery to see the images, but they depended on the technicians that interpreted the visuals, the pictures. I just thought that was hogwash, crazy. Why can't they see? Why can't we see the pictures? And why don't you have your office here set up to where you can view an image of somebody's cancer in front of them when you're in the office? You got to get your act together there, Florida cancer specialists in Naples. I mean, I want to see that. It's mine, right? Never got to see that. So then there is a relationship between my oncologist here in Naples and an oncologist in Tampa, Florida at the Moffitt Cancer Center up there. Moffitt is a well-oiled machine. I've said this before in my videos, and we'll say it again. They just are incredible as far as everything they do. I was initially sent to Moffitt by my gastroenterologist early on, back in April. And my visit up there, that's where they determined, doing a needle biopsy, that I did have biliary cancer, or cancer of that area, gallbladder, liver, bile duct. Yeah. So that's how I got to know about what was going on and if it was cancerous or not. You want to hear the words benign, but malignant, we got to work on this thing. So working with Moffitt Cancer Center and with Florida cancer specialists down here in Naples, I was able to, and you know what, when you're the patient, you have a lot of control. You can decide not to go into your therapy, which would be for us a chemotherapy session. And you can decide, not to go into a doctor's visit if you want to. You have that sort of control. Now, would I advise doing that? No. I What I did though, because I felt that the chemo that I was getting was too high in other words, I didn't like their prescription. I thought it was too high, and um, just basing it on my body and how I felt and how what I was doing in conjunction. And I know that's sort of taking things into your own hand as far as doctor stuff. But in my case, I'm not saying in your case it'll work. In my case, it was the right decision. As a matter of fact, I convinced the oncologist up in Tampa at Moffitt Cancer Center to lower the cycles of chemotherapy, and he did. And then also, we scheduled a PET scan to be done on December 29th, which is pretty recent. And I was so anxious with that because what he did was my oncologist said, I'm going to take this. I know you live 2 hours away from here, so I'm going to do the PET scan, go home. Next day I'll call you and we'll discuss it. And I got done with the PET scan up at Moffitt, and I had to get word to the oncologist, my oncologist up there. I said, you know what? I'm so anxious. I really want to see this. Can you see me right now? And can we look at this real quick? And he said, yeah, give me some time to look it over. And, I'll let you know, when I have a little time where you can come up to the office here and see me. I was on the first floor. He's on the third floor. And so it wasn't long. And I went up to see him, and we looked over the PET scan. He's like scrolling through it. It's really cool when you scroll through an image of your like slices of your body. It's really interesting. So he showed me my liver, which was the only thing on the whole PET scan of my entire body that showed any sort of cancer going on. And initially, when I looked at it, I saw, oh man, there's this glowing spot, which was not too big, but it was big enough to go, okay, there's a big spot of something on there. Come to find out that my permanent stent reflects in a PET scan. So it reflects back. It's not cancerous or anything. It's just metallic. So something metal in my body. And so that showed up, as white. But next to it, probably about an inch away on this particular picture, was a little spot. And this oncologist said, along with the physician that did my latest procedure, said, the little spot you have on there is like less than half an inch. It's like a centimeter big, but it's there. And your initial, this is what blew me away, still blows me away, is that your initial tumor that you had on there from the CAT scan we did back in April of last year, where at Moffitt they said, you got a tumor in there, and the tumor is 6 centimeters long. And that's pretty big, guys. That's 6 centimeters is, it's a pretty big tumor. And this type of cancer, if you look in any of the research, you'll find that bile duct cancer, liver cancer, gallbladder cancer, this kind of cancer is one of the most aggressive forms of cancer that there is, right? Stuff that you don't want to read, you don't want to hear from other people. I started reading a little bit about it in the 5-year, 5-year study on how long people live after 5 years, or that's they use these like different benchmarks, and I didn't want to read that at all. I didn't want to have that negative stuff going inside my head. I thought, we already know what it is. I don't want to read about what other people, how long they live. That's all. I didn't want to know how aggressive it was, because I knew that what I was doing is probably as much as I could possibly do. And if there was any more research I could have done, I'd be doing it. I'd be finding, okay, this worked and this, situation. Anything I did find, I showed to my oncologist here in Naples and also to the one up in Tampa. Like there was a study on hydroxychloroquine and the type of cancer that I had, which showed that it was very helpful in doing away with that cancer. There's other things like melatonin in cancer and fasting in cancer and ketogenic diet in cancer, even though there's some, disbelievers, unbelievers, whatever. And all of these things, it looked like I was doing the right thing for me. So I continued. And when we saw this PET scan from December 29th showing that that tumor of 6 centimeters had disappeared completely, and the only thing left was something that had grown over on my liver, which is part of that whole mass that used to be there. It was like, gosh, I am almost cancer free. This thing actually worked. It worked for me. I have to say that because of some of the stuff that happened about a month ago on actually my Twitter feed, where we started getting into discussions with other researchers saying that what you're preaching may not work for everybody. And I always preface everything with, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a scientist. I'm a researcher. I research just like they do. And it's interesting, when you read these scientific papers, which I'm pretty good at now, you can take the words that are in there. If you don't understand them, put them in Google and find out what they're talking about. Like apoptosis and autophagy and, all these terms that they use, what cells do, the mitochondria, And I'm not just spewing these out to show you that I've learned things, but you can learn. You're not past learning. You should learn all you can about your cancer, how it develops, what things cause it to go crazy and die. And there's a lot out there. I mean, I've taken, and I know this is probably a little crazy for some of you, but I've even taken dog dewormer, the deworming medicine. You have a little puppy or something, and you know that the thing has worms. There's a chemical compound that they give to pups, different animals. It's all the same. It's strengths. I found out that there is a correlation. There is a strong evidence that shows that this particular chemical is not toxic to humans, but it just does such a number on cancer, kills out cancer. Something you should look into, right? So, and that's what I always say is, I mean, it worked for me. You have the same tools I do to go do your research. Go do it. You know, I do have my protocol, things that I found that work for me, and I have them laid out, got videos, and I also do coach or mentor other people that are having cancer challenges and really want to find out, if this works for them. I say, this is what I did. You don't have to copy me, but if you want to, here's what I used and see if it works for you. It's so easy to see if things are working. I like, and some oncologists don't, but I like watching my tumor marker to see that it's dropping. And I also like to see, the pictures. I like to see these scans. And when I saw that PET scan and that the 6 inch, that'd be something, huh? 6 centimeter tumor had just disappeared. That was tremendous. It just made me feel like it kind of validated, hey, you're doing the right thing. So how do we get this less than half an inch tumor that's sitting on my liver out of the way? How do we get it out of there? So my oncologist up in Tampa said that I'll take what we have here and I'll present it to the tumor board. And our tumor board there at Moffitt will make a decision, and I'll give you a call. So he did, and like a couple days later, gives me a call. See, it's from Moffitt Cancer Center. Pick up the phone. It's my oncologist. He says they've decided that the best thing for you would be this procedure called NanoKnife. I'd never heard of NanoKnife. And it sounded interesting though. And I thought, it sounds like surgery. And I knew that I was against surgery. And I told the oncologist in Tampa, also the one down here in Naples, surgery for me is out of the question. No surgery. Not going to do surgery. Not going to use radiation. Those two things that, for me, I mean, it's just a decision that I made early on because of, factors that I've seen that I don't think boded well with the people that they did them on. Not to say that there's a place, not a place for surgery. There is a place for surgery. There is a place for radiation. These two things have worked, even though both of them are just, in my thought, radical. It's a radical way to get rid of any cancer. And I didn't want anything radical like that. What I was doing, I saw that what I was doing was working slowly, but it was working, right? Tumor markers going way down, liver enzymes getting back to normal, body functioning strength, things that I needed. And so I was really happy about the results there. And I thought, let's continue on until this cancer just disappears. And I could have done that. I think very well could have done that. It would have taken a little bit longer. But I did opt for the NanoKnife procedure, and I'll tell you why. It's because NanoKnife involves putting needles into the area and then sending pulses of electricity down those needles and having that actually perforate the mitochondria or the cell membrane of the cancer cell in such a way that it looks like little knife marks, knife punctures. That's why they call it NanoKnife. And then when the immune system in your body sees this, sees a cell that it doesn't look good, it doesn't look like a normal body cell anyway, got to get out of here through apoptosis, which means the cleaning up of the normal cell death, and then cleaning that up through autophagy or through whatever means. I was trying to find you a picture of the, here it is right here, if I can get this to stop. Now, this is a picture of the needles, and actually it's a video of the needles pulsing as the I don't know where we can get this to. I don't think it'll focus now. But there you can see it. What we can do, I know, let's see, where's my little camera thing? Is if I take off the autofocus thing, or I turn on autofocus actually, it will focus on that. So come on, baby. Do your thing. Yeah, there we go. Oops. The screen's going dark. So you can see they used 4 needles. Now these needles went on the outside of the area. It's really hard to describe what exactly the surgeon did, but what he did was, and I don't know how my body got in that position, because they put you out, they put you under. Thankfully, I don't even want to know. I was curious to see the pictures, yes. But whenever they do a procedure on me, it's like, put me out, do your procedure, wake up in recovery, and you're done, right? But if you can imagine, excuse me, the tumor is not sitting there right on the top of your liver where it's easily accessible, right? No, it's like underneath here near where the colon touches up against the liver. So it's like right in here. So he had to go like through my ribs and, to get this thing with the needles. And so the guy did like a fantastic job. It was very difficult, he said, but, got it. And then I have the before and after pictures of the CAT. They used a CAT scan to do that, like live CAT scan, so they can see where they're pushing the needles actually. And then 3,000 volts of electricity go between those needles and perforate the cell. And so, well, maybe I can show you the after picture. I mean, it just looks amazing where you see, um, here, let me take this off of the autofocus again. Hope you guys are bearing with me on this because it is fascinating. Let's go, yeah, this way's bigger picture. This is the before, the tumor is that little dark thing right there, okay? And then that's my stent that I was talking to you about that showed up like bright like that on the PET scan. On a CAT scan, it's going to show just like that with a dark tube in the middle. Here on a PET scan, this thing showed up bright white because that's a little piece of cancer. Now that's the before picture, right? And then this picture here shows actually the needles in there and sending the voltage through like crazy. And this is the after picture, which is it's kind of cool because to me it looks like one of those pictures, the drone pictures, movies that you see the videos of the drone coming down and like blasting away the whatever, the convoy or whatever, it's just like everything's obliterated. And so that in that picture, I see where that tumor was and everything's gone, so it's interesting, fascinating. I tell everybody, man, I should have gotten into medicine, should have gotten into this because it's such a fascinating thing. So who would know that you could use electric shock to destroy things like that? Do I hurt down in there? I can feel it a little bit. What hurts more is because of, remember I told you about the placement of the needles and how that all got done by, I don't know if they flipped me upside down or on my side or what. I wasn't awake. And nobody took pictures of me except for the ones with the close up of the needles, So um, it's just fascinating how they can do this kind of thing and you come through it and not be in pain like that. It's minimally invasive and the whole thing takes, I don't know, took like an hour, I think, to do, maybe an hour and a half. And then after that, very little pain because there's very little invasion, with needles. I mean, you've gotten a shot or a vaccine or something recently, probably. And do you still hurt from those or pain? And I know 3,000 volts of electricity pulsing through you, that's no fun thing. But um, there's no pain in that area, really. I've never had any pain from the cancer, like cancer's like hurting me or anything. It makes you feel lousy sometimes, but no, like, you know, bending over pain. The pain I do have right now is because of the location of the tumor is so close to the colon coming through there. The physician said, you know what, let's take a precaution because this ablation, it's called, this procedure of the NanoKnife, has the capacity to maybe nick some of the cells on your colon to such an extent where the mitochondria on those cells might be perforated a little bit. And now, don't ask me why the apoptosis wouldn't work for them where it worked for the cancer cells, right? Why are we? So he prescribed me some antibiotics because he doesn't want to see bacteria get in there and maybe do a number on my colon wall. That would not be good. He said that could lead to some major surgery. But my questions are, you know, why, if there are cancer cells that are growing and trying to live, would this not help them as well as far as keeping bacteria out of them? And I just don't know. I think because this is my thinking, because a colon wall cell looks like a colon wall cell, even if it has little holes through it. So a T cell or an immune cell, the ones that fight your the crap that's going on in your body and help keep you alive, they may remove that cell, may not, but they're not going to do anything. Maybe apoptosis doesn't happen, or maybe it does, but it's not aggressive because the T cell can see that cell as being that is supposed to normally be there. You know where I'm going with this, right? Whereas the normal cancer cell, the T cell, and how do they have all this memory and this DNA, and all this stuff? Anyway, the T cell looks at the cancer cell. Cancer cell and says, "I don't recognize you at all. You shouldn't be here." The cancer cell has no energy because it does beforehand. When cancer cell is healthy, it can trick the T cell into saying, "I'm fine. Don't take me out because I'm one of your good cells. Let me grow." And that's how cancer proliferates in the body, because it has nothing. It's at the top of the food chain, as we say. It has no predators inside the body that would try to take it out. I mean, it does, but none of them are strong enough, to really fight against this thing, because it keeps tricking. It's mysterious. It's what did my mom say the other day? It's sneaky. It's sly. So when the T cell sees it all perforated and like destroyed, sort of using the NanoKnife technology, it goes, "You shouldn't belong here anyway. Yeah, I know you're kind. This cancer cell doesn't have any defense because it's sitting there destroyed anyway," and it gets taken out. Now, that's the way I believe it happens. I'm hoping that the antibiotics that I'm taking don't benefit the cancer in any way, shape, or form. That's the only thing I'm feeling these last few days crappy, is because this antibiotic, 14 days of this stuff, is super powerful. And I didn't want to take it initially. And the reason why I didn't want to take it is because antibiotics take out your gut biome, your flora in your gut, which is, we're finding out things on almost a daily basis about our gut and the flora and the probiotic activity that happens down there, and how it benefits the body in so many ways. Help fighting disease. It helps, all kinds of things. And there's so much connection between the mind, gut, and, all parts of your body work together as one. So an antibiotic will take out, especially one as powerful like this, will take out all of your flora. I guess most of it anyway. Here I am popping my probiotic pills and taking, whatever else everybody's advising me on social media, the different little things to take. And I'm going, what difference will that make while I'm taking the antibiotics? I mean, will the antibiotics allow the probiotics to flourish? No, it's going to take them out too, but I'm still taking them because I'm thinking maybe one will squeak through, or something, of the billions that are supposedly in these pills, these capsules you take. And then also trying to take different things that allow your intestinal flora to flourish. So I'm trying to be good at doing this, but very negative about antibiotics. I have not had good experiences with them. Now, what convinced me to take them? Well, I consulted the people in my group of early on, like last year. I gathered people that I thought could benefit me in the area of research. And I had them help me research all of these documents along with me. I researched them as well. And people that took great interest in this protocol that I do. So I would throw these things in front of them, like antibiotics. You think I can get by without taking the antibiotics? Or if I take the antibiotics, is the effect that they're going to have on my body worse than not taking them at all and trying to work my way through what may happen, such as an infection, a bacterial infection in my colon, right? So the word I got back from my researcher up in Tampa was that, according to him and his friends, doctors, these people reach out, they're very well connected, which is, you can do this too. Find somebody that you trust, and have them help you if they have the time. Some of these people I pay, to get the research done for me. Other people are just, do it out of the kindness of their hearts and want to, you know, see you survive. So the word back I got was, Dave, the benefit outweighs the risk. So I decided and started on the antibiotics, because the surgeon also told me, he said, if that does get infected in that area, could mean major surgery later, even maybe cutting out part of the colon. You don't want to do that. And I go, man, I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do that. As anti-surgery as I am, I know it has its place. I know you have to get it done sometimes, right? But if you can prevent it with a little pill, take out my gut flora for 6 months and have me work on building up my gut biome once again, then I guess that's the way we're going to have to go. So that's what I'm doing. 12 more pills to go. And they're powerful enough to make you feel like crap, especially in my stomach area. My stomach's bubbling all the time. Got those aches and pains going on that I don't normally have. All right. I am fasting. Um, and there's a couple of people I'm going to be checking with, but I know fasting helps in producing a lot of the healing properties of the body, especially in the immune system. Um, Weighing myself at least 2 times a day, sometimes three, making sure I'm not losing quickly, any kind of weight. Don't want that to happen. But that's where I'm at. That would bring you up to date to today. I am on vacation from work, which is a good time for all of this to happen. So it's a good thing, that this all came about. I mean, it's just things work out in my life that are like crazy in that way, that kind of work together for good, like the timing wise, and finding the right people. And this can happen for you too. It's something that you have to get in the mindset of, expecting things to happen that way. Um, I really believe in that because I've seen it happen in my life more than once, more than twice. Just like if you get in that line of expectation, these things will happen. So, and they do for me. I believe in the law of attraction, that if you're like negative all the time, then you kind of like, that's all you see in life are negative things. And yeah, have negative things happen to you. So very important to get in a positive mindset, expect great things, um, celebrate, be grateful when you have good outcomes. I'm so grateful for this on this journey, all the people that I've met, all the people that have supported me, all the people that have like prayed for me, all the people that have like cheered me on, encouragement, you know, and people that question about, the protocol, what I do and whatever. It's okay. It's all right. That's the way they feel. And if and when they have to face this, um, they'll choose a path, and hopefully that path will work out for them, right? So, and you want that to happen for people, is that they have the best result in whatever choice they make in life. You have to choose something, and for me, it was becoming my own advocate, of things, and let's study this. I want to see, show me how many people did this and actually had some positive results. The crazy thing about it is most of these results that you see from this crazy stuff, like the supplements or fasting or things that are almost free, right? The diet, which is so easy to make in the kitchen here. When you see that, it's like these things are, no, zero to no cost. I mean, they're like almost free to have working in your life. And gosh, it's like there's so many things in cancer that can be helped by these things that are very low cost. People have found, and not only me, there's many people, you just do your own research. Um, Things like meclizine, which is a anti-motion sickness drug. Usually people take it when they're driving in the car, when they're going on long trips in the car, on a boat, or airplane, anywhere where you have like motion going on all the time. It makes you sick. They found that this in I don't know if any human studies had been done, but in animals, like non-human animals, they found it's a very good thing to cause tumors to be suppressed and not grow so fast. So you're taking a little thing that costs like maybe $6 at the pharmacy. And, when you take all these things together and you see the results, it's like, wow, this is powerful stuff that we have here. But the biggest thing I want to leave you with is something that I learned through this whole journey is to really, really listen to your body. Something I didn't do before as much. You'd feel your body like, oh gosh, got a headache. Take a pill, right? That's not what I mean. I mean, what caused that headache to come about? What had you done? And why is your body reacting this way now to something that you did, right? Like you have these stomach pains. Instead of taking like some kind of Alka-Seltzer or something to take away the gas, or you have um, what is it, like acid reflux. There's so many pills out there for acid reflux now, which have a ton of side effects, but we take them because we don't want to have the acid reflux instead of finding out what's causing the acid reflux in my body, right? If you have panic attacks, why? What's causing that? Instead of taking medicine that calms you down, you should find out what is causing the panic attacks. So that's the way I started listening to my body. Are you tired? Maybe your body's saying you need to sleep now. Don't sleep at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Maybe you need to rest now, and the body's telling you that it needs rest now to repair itself. The body is not stupid. It's so wise, and it wants to be balanced. Get into what I said before, homeostasis. And when you get into that, your body repairs itself. I mean, that's what it's designed to do. We use so much energy in our bodies to digest food. That is why we have this epidemic of diseases going on. It's because we're always consuming stuff all the time. We're always consuming snacks. We're not even hungry. We're watching the TV. And just without thinking, we're sitting there crunching on stuff. Crunching's good. I love crunching. I love tastes. I love peanut butter and chocolate. I love different things. I love the taste of food. I love food. I'm addicted to food. I'm addicted to sweet stuff too. I like sweet anything. But it's off my menu right now. And I also have to keep my calories down because calorie restriction has been shown to help suppress tumor growth or cancer in the body. And those are some very powerful studies done. Those are ones I get no rebuttal on any of the social media platforms for, because people know for sure that that's a thing. I step out and do things that there may not be 20 papers written on, but I want to see if it works for me. It might, if it works for me and it does like a miracle thing. What I was alluding to in the beginning was that there are hardly any chemotherapy medicines, hardly any procedures that are done throughout the medical community in oncology that have the percentage of results that these things have when they do, like for me, a clinical or therapeutic ketogenic diet, or you do fasting, or you do calorie restriction. The results of that, the percentage is like great, sometimes 60, 65, on up percent. There is no medicine on the face of the planet that I know of that's available to me where I can get 60% results. If you take this right now, your cancer, you'll see a 60%, result in, good outcome for you. And, or people that are taking it, 60% of them, are doing much better. Now, most of the time it's, they're just trying to make you survive a little bit longer. And the quality of life that you have by taking all these toxins is horrifying. I mean, I know people, because once you have cancer, have a lot of cancer buddies, people that are going through will tell you their story. And it's sad, it makes you almost cry to read some of the stories or to talk to people on the phone, hear some of the stories about, their journey with cancer. Some are not pleasant at all. I'm not here to say that they don't all not have to be that way, because I know that sometimes, depending on the cancer and how advanced it is, it's got such a foothold on the body that, a lot of these therapies and a lot of these things and protocols or whatever will either take a while to work or won't work at all. That's why I say this doesn't work for everybody, but I believe in my heart that for the majority of people, it will work, and there is hope. So I want to leave you with that today. It's been fun doing this live on this Sunday morning. Just want to catch you up to what's going on in my life. I can have coffee on my fast, and I really have this feeling, because I see how much the sun is shining outside, to just go down for a beach walk. It is in the mid 60s here today, which means it's going to be a brisk breeze coming over the ocean out there, and maybe something to leave for a little bit later on in the afternoon, because I don't know, who likes cold weather, right? 60's not cold, I know, but it's going to be in the upper 70s later, so I'm just going to wait. All right. So anyway, take care of yourselves. If you have any questions at all about what I'm talking about here, or any kind of comment, good or bad, I want to hear from you. Okay, just comment there below, leave it, and if you have any kind of question, over something you think I may have skipped in this whole process, just let me know below. And we'll catch you next time, next video on this channel, okay? Thanks a lot for your support, for your love, for your encouragement, for being a warrior for me. I really appreciate that. It made a difference, and it makes a difference. Take care.